Live stream is on. We can start. Can you hear anything on the background? Om. 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 सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्च अर्थेष्वभिज्ञं स्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकम् सत्यं परं धीमहि सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Today I was thinking, because it's Navaratri, we'll start with one bhajan. Okay. This is in my I don't know my dialect how it will be, but it's an Odissi, I believe, Odissi song on Jagannatha. जगन्नाथा तुम्ही परम ब्रह्मा जुगे जुगे सत्य सनातना जगन्नाथा तुम्ही परम ब्रह्मा जुगे जुगे सत्य सनातना भगवत सार तुम्ही परमाण पुराण प्रसिद्ध सर्वोत्तमा तुम्ही राम तुम्ही श्याम तुम्ही नारायणा तुम्ही गीता भगवतो तुम्ही परायणा जगन्नाथा तुम्ही परम ब्रह्मा जुगे जुगे सत्य सनातना निजे ही निजर श्रेष्ठावह प्रभु निजे निजर तुराण निजे ही निजर श्रेष्ठावह प्रभु निजे निजर तुराण अवर्णनीया है अनंत आसीन के गरे पारे कळन अवर्णनीया है अनंत आसीन के गरे पारे कळन तुम्ही निराकार तुम्ही अनाकार कोटी कोटि कमजिनी अनुपमा। तुम्ही राम, तुम्ही श्याम, तुम्ही नारायणा, तुम्ही गीता भगवतो, तुम्ही परायणा। जगन्नाथा तुम्ही परम ब्रह्मा, जुगे जुगे सत्य सनातना। तुम्ही माता तुम्ही पिता महाप्रभो, तुम्ही बंधू तुम्ही सखा। तुम्ही माता तुम्ही पिता महाप्रभो, तुम्ही बंधू तुम्ही सखा। सकट ब्रह्मांड जनक बोलाई, करुवच सृष्टि रचा। सकट ब्रह्मांड जनक बोलाई, करुवच सृष्टि रचा। तुम्ही दीनबंधू तुम्ही भव सिंधू, तुम्ही भक्तर प्रियतमा। तुम्ही राम, तुम्ही श्यामा, तुम्ही नारायणा, तुम्ही गीता भगवतो, तुम्ही परायणा। जगन्नाथा तुम्ही परम ब्रह्मा, जुगे जुगे सत्य सनातना। ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नमो। ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नमो। ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नमो। ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नमो। ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नारायणाय, ओम नमो नमो। ओम नमो नमो, ओम नमो नमो। Very beautiful. The meanings, so it's just so this thing says many places, right? Jagannatha Tumi Parabrahma. You are the Parambrahma. Okay. Tumhi Bhagavata Tumhi Paramana. You are there in every Anu is what I'm understanding. Bhagavato Tumhi Parayana. In everything.
For me or for everybody? Aarti's voice, was it breaking for you also, Jayamalaji?
When I was
Can you
singing, it was
repeat
breaking.
that? Can you repeat that, Aarti, please? The voice was breaking.
Okay, okay. Now can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Song also was breaking?
No, no,
No,
no. Just
no.
this to me after Parambrahma, whatever you told.
Ha, Tumhi Param Brahma. It says, Tumhi Paramana. You are the supreme. Or I don't know, Parama Anu it is not.
Anu,
Ana. So we'll have to see. Paramana.
Paramana. Okay, maybe.
The supreme reality.
Hmm.
Maybe. Purana, you are oldest. Prasiddha, well known. Sarvottama, the supreme to everything. Tumi Rama, Tumi Shama, Tumi Narayana, Tumhi Gita, Bhagavato, Tumhi Parayana. All every inaction of remembering him also, it is you only. And then this is beautiful. Tumi Mata, Tumi Pita, Mahaprabho, Tumi Bandhu, you're the friend, Tumi Sakha. Sakata Brahmanda Janaka Bolai,
Father of
Karvacha Shrishti Racha. You are the one who is the Shishti, the one who does the rachana of the Shishti. Tumi Dino Bandhu, Tumi Bhava Sindhu. All
Bhava Sindhu
compassionate.
also.
Tumi Bhaktara Priyatama.
Hmm.
You are the one. I think it's, yeah, that is loved by all. Tumi Rama, Tumi. Tumi.
Very, very beautiful.
Okay.
And this is what they say, right? It's Vibhuti. The darshana, we are seeing a form. But for the one who has given this song, you know, the inner, it is the vision of Parabrahma. You know, by seeing the form outside, the inner self is experienced, Atma Anubhava. That's the beauty of this Vibhuti. It just pushes, I think, it just swallows the individual jiva. Very beautiful. Yeah, before we start, I also had one thing. Actually, this Buddha, Ila, that Kachapucha story, which we read in Bhagavatam, somehow it was there in the mind. Why is Bhagavatam talking about so many things? It was just there. And just, I think, 2 days back, in one of the Swami's discourses, he was mentioning he was talking about Gajendra Moksha. Okay, just I think the Kerala Satsanga, he talked about Gajendra Stuti. So in that, so he mentioned the outer, this covering, the body doesn't matter. Basically, this Atma Vidya, every is, what do you say? Can be acquired or whatever is available for irrespective of this outer covering. That is why we have Gajendra Moksha, Jatayu Moksha is also there in Ramayana. Of course the human birth, the beings, that is different, but all these are to say that even animals, plants, trees, in Namadev's, I think, story, we see a buffalo which tells the Veda and which gets moksha. So those things. And that time he mentions this story in Navamaskanta. So he narrated this Buddha Ila story. And he says the same thing, like, Vasishta, first Vasishta does that yajna, right, for the king. And then the wife, the queens wanted a girl child and the husband wanted a boy for the heir to the throne. And then, because of all that, a girl is born. And then Vashishta, out of his own power, changes that to a boy. And then he goes to the forest, and through that Shiva's curse or whatever, he becomes a girl, right? All that we saw. So very nicely, Swami was saying, if these things are there in Srimad Bhagavatam also, which is happening now in the Western countries, where the gender change and all that is happening. So it seems in one satsanga somewhere, one of the Swaminis who had traveled, he says this literally happened. One who was listening to her talk, she is also from Tiruvannamalai, one of the saints, I think, disciple or somebody. So she had come and shared it with Swami. So he was mentioning that. So when she had given that talk and all that, at the end of the talk, someone came and approached her and asked. So she had talked about the speciality of the human birth, how it is so precious or whatever. We have to value this instrument through this, all that. So he comes and tells her, is this spirituality for all, only for human or for everybody? She did not expect. So she just told, yes, it is in this context, it is for the human. That is what, this entire Vedanta, everything, because we have only devised the rishis and all. So then he said, no, I identify myself as a dog. Am I eligible? So for her at that time, she felt like a sincere quest from a seeker. Though at the body level, he is come, a human being only has come. There is some mental confusion, that is different. But, that sincere seek is also there. So mentioning this, Swami was telling, so that is why Bhagavatam has given, even if they are little mentally confused, if they surrender to. So later this Buddha or Ila, I'm forgetting the name, somebody, he actually, as usual, like in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said that he goes to the forest as tapasya and, becomes one with the Lord. So he says this is mentioned so that, even though there are so many mental confusions, whatever is there, if that individual is ready to surrender to the Lord at that point in time, then, there is light. If you are ready for the tapasya, so he actually, it seems that king, whoever we saw, Ila, he later gets very disturbed with this whole thing of being a man and being a woman, and the people are really, insulting, and he faces a lot of things. So he gets vairagya, he just becomes very depressed. He goes to the forest, he gets satsanga, typical Bhagavatam way, no? He gets satsanga and then he gets how to do the tapasya, and then he does tapasya and he leaves his body. So this is the journey, which was not mentioned in the Kamala Subramaniam book, but Swami finished that. So I was like, okay. So Bhagavatam has addressed everything. If you look at it, it is so fantastic to listen to that. It is very encouraging when someone is ready, irrespective, even Bhagavad Gita says, right, apichet sudurachara, even if you are such a durachara, you completely surrender to me now. I will, then I will consider you as a sadhu. And ananya bhak, he says, without anything else, you completely do the bhajan of me, says Bhagavan, then the, rest assured, Atma Vidya is assured for you. So that is the glory of Srimad Bhagavatam, actually. So it is good timing for our class. So it came from Swami. I thought it's good to.
So beautifully it came, no? At the right time. Yeah, see, it's our judgment, no, all this kacha-pucha and all that we feel, that we say, but looks like there is, yeah, as long as they are a seeker, that's all that matters.
Yeah. And even if the kacha-pucha happens sometimes, if the jiva is truly, that thing is there in that jiva, it comes out through some association. That person had attended this Amma's satsanga in a Western country. Maybe, I don't know what later will he pursue or not pursue and all is a different thing. But for him to come over and ask itself shows that sincerity, isn't it? There is something, it is. Okay, I think we had completed Ramavatara. Is it? Parshurama is here. Oh, no. That's what, this one. Okay.
What? He buried the pot in a, I'm forgetting, you remember?
Which one?
Under the tree, and that night he spent in thoughts of her.
Yeah, he does all those things, no? And he gets back Urvashi.
Oh, that one. Urvashi, yeah. Yeah,
Some
okay.
purpose, yeah. I think it does.
Yeah, right.
Parshurama. Yeah, please go ahead.
In line of Pururavas was born a king named Gadhi. His daughter was Satyavati. Ruchika, a Brahmin, came to the king and asked for the hand of his daughter in marriage. The king said, if you want her, you must give me 1,000 horses. Okay. If you want her, you must give me 1,000 horses which are milky white like the moon and which have ears which are black. If you love my daughter enough, you must be able to pay this Kanya Shulka. We are not usually in the habit of asking for this shulka, but I want to see how much you love my daughter. Ruchika went to Varuna, the lord of the oceans, and asked him to help him. He came back with the 1,000 white horses and claimed the hand of the king's daughter. Gadi was quite satisfied that his daughter would have a loving husband and gave Satyavati to Ruchika. Gadi had no son, and Ruchika did not have one either. Gadi's wife and Satyavati asked Ruchika to help them realize their wishes. He agreed to do so. He prepared for them holy water sanctified by incantations. 2 pots held the water. One was meant for the king's wife. Ruchika had asked for a son full of the qualities of a Kshatriya to be born to the woman who drank out of that pot. The other pot, which was meant for his wife, contained water which would grant a son with Brahmanic qualities. You understood? I'm a little confused. The king's wife is... Go up a little, 1 minute, Pala.
Ruchika. Ruchika is...
The king's daughter is Ruchika and the No. Go up. Gadi is the king. His daughter is Satyavati. Ruchika is the Brahmin. And the king wants to... Ruchika marries Satyavati. So Satyavati is a Kshatriya and Ruchika is a Brahmin. Okay, Gadi had no son. Oh, now the father, the king, does not have any son. And Ruchika did not have one either. This is the Brahmin's wife. Oh, Ruchika the Brahmin did not have one either. So Gadi's wife and Satyavati asked Ruchika to help them realize their wishes. Okay. He agreed to do so. He prepared for them holy water sanctified by incantations. 2 pots held the water. One was meant for the king's wife. Ruchika had asked for a son full of the qualities of a Kshatriya to be born to the woman who drank out of that pot. The other pot, which was meant for his wife, contained water which would grant a son with Brahmanic qualities. Having placed them in the ashrama, Ruchika went to the river to perform his daily Sandhya rituals. The 2 women came into the ashrama and saw the pots of water meant for them. The queen, Gadi's wife, had a suspicion that Ruchika would naturally be partial to his wife. She thought that the charu meant for Satyavati would be better than the one meant for her. She wanted her own son to be superior to her grandson. So she told Satyavati that no harm would come to them if they exchanged the pot, since both were meant to grant them children. Satyavati was very sweet by nature and she said, so be it. And before Ruchika came back from his bath, they had drunk the water. Satyavati later told him about the suggestion of her mother about the exchange of the pots. He was very angry with the women for their foolishness. Why did you both do it without asking me? He said. Since you both wanted sons, I prepared the pot, water for your mother so that her son will have the qualities of a Kshatriya. And the pot I prepared for you was to give you a son who has the qualities of a Brahmin. All that is changed now. Your brother will be a saintly person while your son will have the nature of a Kshatriya. Satyavati was greatly upset and fell at his feet, asking him to somehow modify the situation. Ruchika said, I can only do one thing. I can shift it by a generation. Your son will be sweet-tempered and your grandson will be the one to inherit the nature of a Kshatriya.
Oh.
Okay.
Grandson is Parashurama.
He will have the nature of a Kshatriya. So Satyavati gave birth to a son, Jamadagni. He was saintliness personified. He was gentle and affectionate like his mother. When Satyavati died, she was transformed into a river by name Kaushiki, and it was reputed to purify the world.
Oh, no, but Satyavati is Kshatriya only, no?
But she was married to Ruchika, a Brahmin.
Right. But she must have given birth to a Kshatriya.
No. She, instead of giving birth to a Kshatriya, he says, I will shift it by one generation. So the next generation, Jamadagni, was a gentle Brahmin.
Okay, so basically that Gadi's wife did not get any son. Maybe.
That we don't know. It has not been mentioned here.
That's what, because shifting generation means...
I thought only, yeah.
right?
No mention of Gadi here. Gadi's wife.
No, Gadi's wife only drinks the other pot.
The
Satyavati's
Brahmin
mother.
one.
Satyavati's mother.
Yeah.
So shift generation means looks like he just passed it on to the next and next.
Yeah, something like that.
Ah, okay.
So Jamadagni, the Bhargava, married Renuka and 5 sons were born to them. They were Vasuman, Vasu, Vasushena, Rumanvan and Rama. It was this Rama who had been born with the
qualities of a Kshatriya.
qualities of a Kshatriya. Oh.
That Brahmana pot from that Satyavati's mother came to Satyavati. And the Kshatriya comes to
The next
one
generation
down.
So it was this Rama who had been born with the qualities of a Kshatriya. He became known to the world over as a hater of Kshatriyas later on. He was said to be the avatara of the Lord, born to rid the world of sinful kings like the Hehayas. Rama was a personification of the Gunas, Rajasa and Tamasa. It was well known that the smallest insult was felt to be enormous by Rama, and he would not rest until he had punished the offender. He was a Kshatriya by nature, but since he was a Brahmin by birth, he was bent upon punishing the Kshatriyas who did not respect the Brahmins.
Oh, that's all.
So it was a combination of Rajas and Tamas. So we had discussed this earlier, right? It is a movement from Rajas to Rajas Tamas, and then when Rama comes in, becomes Sattva, and then by time Krishna, it is I think Gunatita. He has no right wrong. Krishna has no sense, no this thing. It's just Gunatita, beyond everything. What is needed for this moment? Kartavirya, the Hehaya. Oh, now the details of that will come. The king of the country by name Hehaya was Kartavirya Arjuna. He had propitiated Dattatreya and Amsha of Narayana. He had 1,000 arms and he was invincible. He was powerful and he was famed the world over for his strength and glory. He became arrogant because of his extreme power over others. Once he was bathing in the river Narmada with his women. He held back the river with his 1,000 arms and it was arrested in his flow. Ravana, who had camped on the other side of the river, found his tent wetted by the river, and he found the cause of it. He could not brook the action of the Lord of the Hehayas. He went to him and tried to insult him, but Kartavirya made him the laughing stock of the women by capturing him. He kept Ravana as a prisoner in the city of Mahishmati and released him after insulting him. Once Kartavirya was hunting in the forest, and during his wandering, he came by chance to the ashrama of Jamadagni. The rishi entertained the king and this entire host with the help of Kamadhenu, the divine cow. Kartavirya was greatly impressed by the powers of Kamadhenu, so much so he became jealous of Jamadagni. When he had left the ashrama with his attendants, he instructed his men to steal the cow and bring it to his city. His orders were obeyed, and the cow, crying piteously, was carried by force to Mahishmati, the capital of Hehaya. Rama, who had gone out, came back to the ashrama of his father and heard about the stealing of Kamadhenu. He was hissing like a serpent which had been beaten by a stick. He took up his terrible axe, his bow and quiver full of arrows, and hurried to the city of the miscreant. See that Rajas and Tamas, one thought was just coming up now. You see, it is because of the tamas. He's getting angry. He's seeing what is being done wrong, and he feels he has, and he also teaches them a lesson. Now that comes from a tamasic quality. That I have to teach them a lesson somehow. Rajas is largely they are self-oriented, very this thing, but tamas has this quality of going after the others. taking revenge,
and instinctively acting, maybe.
acting.
No, they are not ready to hear. Heedlessness is there.
He identified as a Brahmin but was acting like a Kshatriya.
Even in Dhruva Charitra, we saw that, right? He's a Kshatriya. So, Dhruva, when sage Narada comes, the first thing that Narada Rishi is telling Dhruva, that 5-year-old boy, is why so much of anger? It's just a small little thing. Don't be so angry. Take Sukha, Dukkha as same. Be balanced. But then Dhruva says, I'm a Kshatriya blood. I'm unable to take it. So later, for the same thing, Dhruva, after getting the darshan of Narayana, after he's being bestowed the kingdom back, he cries and he goes back. He repents for that. Says, I should have listened to Narada only. Actually, if he had listened to Narada, he would have been another Prahlada. But that Kshatriya thing, he had to go the whole thing to. So.
So Kartavirya Arjuna, he had done a lot of penance to Lord Dattatreya. When I was looking up the meaning of propitiated.
Oh, I thought son. No, okay.
No.
Oh.
So he had done a lot of penance and devotion to Lord Dattatreya, and he was granted siddhis. A lot of strength and yoga mastery and flying chariot and all those kind of things. So that is the reason for his arrogance also. There are these siddhis. There are people who are siddhis are also in the mind world only. Like the Anima, Garima, Lagima, Mahima, all of these, they can walk on water, they can become big, they can become small, all of these kind of things. And there is a beautiful way in which Nochu Swamigal, here Ramanatirtha Swamigal will say, become, it is all, don't become in the mind. In your heart, you can become small when you have to practice humble. Know you are big when you have to. That is, you are complete. That way he had completed. But siddhis by itself are a part of the mind world in a way. So the chances of falling with siddhis are high because the arrogance can come when there is a lot of power that you seem to have, and others are all like, wow, the magic power kind of thing, miracles and stuff like that. That comes from siddhis, which is gaining control over the mind. So even I was reading the other day, we have these 3 states of sleep: the wakeful state, the dreaming state, and the deep sleep state. The siddhis come from that dream state, manifesting from that dream state of the mind, having mastery over the dream state of the mind. To dream up, to visualize, to imagine what they want, and to be able to manifest that, even intuitively. Anyway, so that is a side.
The danger with all these siddhis is, so Ramana Bhagavan always says, it's not that such Purushas, they were Ishvara, all the Dakshinamurti Sutra comes, right? The one who's realized, or even the Bhaktas, if you see, Tukaram Maharaj Charitra, there's so many things. But they say, I did not do it. It is the manifestation of the Lord. There is that surrender. That ego is not there. But for someone who thinks that I am possessing that siddhi, they get caught there. Again, it is that arrogance. It is just again that, so Ramanavan says, it's the Ishvara Shakti. There are many, many Kanchi Mahapariva also used to say. It is said that one other very popular, we can say, Swami, who was at that time, when he goes to meet Kanchi Mahapariva, he could not perform what he was doing in the public in front of Kanchi Mahapariva. So then Mahapariva says, now you stop doing this. At heart, you are a wonderful person and you are spiritually growing. Because of your possession of this, you know, you are just looked as a magician outside. You are much more than this. We have not come here to show magic to people. But he had told that, this is to draw people. But then Swami Mahapariva told all these are not necessary. A wise man who is truly surrendered to Bhagavan, in the path, such things become, it is like opening such channels, they are available to them. That's all. Such channels, that's why we say, for the one who, a word that comes out of such great Mahatmas become true. It's not that they think and then, it happens. That the channels are opened up. Mind is so less for them. So it's just opened up. There's no difference between that Ishvara Shakti. They are in that realm. So Mahapariva also, rescued. That saint later says, he rescued me from not fall because of this, because Siddhi. So it is very important to, sometimes suddenly something, even for regular, very normal people, something may come up. You must be very careful with it. Just put that
Even
arpana.
Satya
No.
Sai Baba used to bring up the lingam and all that. Then Kanchipareva had told him also, I believe.
Yeah. I didn't name it. That's why
Oh,
it's the
okay,
same
sorry.
thing.
Okay.
I didn't want to.
Yeah.
That only. So basically, it's very important because we do know few who are caught in that. And I think Nityananda is one. Definitely some siddhi, lot of things are there. Yes. But when the
And
tapas.
everything that he talks is not, it's the way they cut it, it looks wrong, but otherwise the eye in the eye and everything is correct only. It is very Vedic in a way only. Okay. It sounds funny when the way they have cut it and put it and the way, I don't know, whatever, out of context when you listen to it, it can be very funny. But it's
Yeah.
very precise, actually Vedic. But I think somewhere there is a misuse of the siddhis also, maybe.
The attention is in the ego, right? The
Mm.
attention is in the jiva.
Mm.
Attention, if it is in the Atman, then there is no. That's why Vrittasura, we remember, right, in Bhagavatam, that Chitraketu, he then becomes one Vidyadhara, right? And then cursed by Ma Parvati, he comes back as Vritrasura. So, that Vritrasura, though in the Asura body, the footprints of the suffering because of his siddhi, because of his power, because of being a Raja, because of being a Devata, that suffering is there in his mind. So he says, I don't want any, what is that shloka? One shloka comes, right? Parameshtyam, na sarvabhaumam. So I don't want kingdom. I don't want to become the king of these three worlds. I don't want any siddhi. I don't want rebirth. Please take me, Narayana. That's the cry of that asura in the last, that 4 Vritrasura stotras. It is so beautiful. So in that he says, Narasadhipatyam, na sarvabhaumam, it comes, the list. Na siddhim, na punarbhavam. And just give me satsanga with your devotion sadhus. Don't give me sangha with those who are caught up in their own, whatever. Jiva, bhava. He uses samsara. So that's the cry of that bhakta. So it is very important. That footprints is there for him. He remembers the suffering because of that. So that's why bhakti is a very beautiful.
So sometime, yeah, this is very important, right? Even when we were talking about Nityananda, there are many siddhas who promise, or whatever, they may be also be devotees, but who promise a good life, a fulfillment of your desires. Come to me, I will fulfill your desires. It is a promise of heaven. There is a shloka. Any saint, any saint who promises, I don't know which Bhagavad Gita shloka, there is one. with the idea of, fulfilling your desires. Be watchful of them. So they say once your desires are fulfilled, then you will be free of it, is the kind of messages that are given by, I had someone close to this person. So, but Swami Chinmayananda ji gives a very nice equation. He says happiness quotient is equal to desires fulfilled divided by desires entertained. Desires fulfilled divided by desired and entertained. If the denominator is small, the quotient will be high. Happiness quotient will be high. That is, the number of desires entertained, if it is small, then the numerator becomes big, which means the happiness quotient is higher. You keep having desires entertained is so large, then the desires fulfilled will always be smaller, then the happiness quotient is also much lower. If the desire entertained is 0, then the numerator is infinity. So happiness quotient is infinite.
Someone asks Bhagavan, is desirelessness a path to self? Bhagavan says, desirelessness is self. That's it. These are Vedavak, Ramana Bhagavan. A beautiful Sharanagati shloka by Swami. He says, Ashahi paramam dukkham, nairashyam paramam sukham, asham vihaya he Swamin. Please remove all the asha. Sharanagati, he has written around 12 Sharanagati shlokas. In that this comes. Asham vihaya he Swamin, tvam aham sharanam gataha. So it's very beautiful. Shahiban. In that, this also comes. Naham kankshe naka prishtam. I don't desire for being the king, Naham kankshe naka prishtam. Siddhim vapi maheshwara. None of the siddhis I desire. Naham kankshe naka prishtam. Siddhim vapi maheshwara. Something. It comes. Naham kankshe naka prishtam. I only forget. Maheshwara, and then something. Then Tvamaham Sharanam Gataha says, it is all the desires, all these are the root cause of suffering actually. Desires entertained can be made 0. Okay. So tamas event there.
So the desires bring up the I. Basically, it comes from the sense of I, me, mine. Whenever the I, me, mine comes, even in desires, it is. We were just reading in Atma Bodha how there's this shloka in the Atma Bodha class, which verse 26. It says, I is a delusion. There is the Prakriti, there is the Satchitananda, there are the thought waves. These exist in some way. So it's just that now because we are in this Nava, what was going on right now. Okay, Navaratri. Suddenly. So Navaratri. So to talk about the Devi, now the Purusha Satchit Ananda is Achala, stillness, absolute stillness. Like, we say Arunachala, Achala, unmoving, like a triangle with a base below. That triangle is solid, it is standing. When the triangle has the base on the ground, it is Achala, it is stillness. So from this mountain starts flowing the river. So if you see, even in our grammar, Hindi, all mountains are the masculine gender. In Hindi, they have masculine gender and feminine genders for different things. So mountains are masculine gender and the rivers are all feminine genders, Devis. So from the mountain, just the way the rivers start flowing, and the river is flowing, it is chanchala. It keeps moving. So it is the triangle which is standing on its apex, the tip. The base is on top and it's so it is the moving one. And together with this triangle and the other ulta triangle, which is standing on the, then there is Leela, that is creation. So this is happening. So the thought waves are there. So now within us also there is the one is very masculine, like the ambition, like some of the stillness of the brain, and the other side of the brain is the creativity and the nurture and the love and all those movement ones, and very emotional and all those kind of things. So here that is also in a form an Ardhanarishwara, the two coming together within us, also the masculine and the feminine, even in our brain. So now when these two come together, then there is what is happening is a Leela. But in this whole thing, so the masculine, that is the Purusha, which is Satchit Ananda, from it, when I go to sleep, the whole world comes into this Purusha. In the morning, when we wake up, the whole world comes out of this Purusha. It is just projected again. It is like a beautiful example I heard recently was like there is a screen that is Purusha, on that there is a screen, and that there is a movie being projected, and there is a director who is directing this movie. The director is Prakriti. The one who is directing, who is the Shakti, who is Devi of everything. But everything is available to us. We know it, we see it, we perceive it because the Purusha is there. The Satchit, the consciousness is ever present, and hence we can see it at all point in time. Okay, but the movement is all this thing. So vritti, there is a flow, constantly there is a flow. But when the I comes up, that I is a delusion. Satchitananda, this is happening, it is flowing, the thought is coming, it is coming, a word is happening, it is a happening, like breathing is happening, like digestion is happening, like finger is being lifted, hand is being lifted, it is all happening. But in this whole process, when the I comes up, I know, I am the knower, I am the doer, I am the seer, I am the desirer. When the I comes up, then we get stuck. It becomes a whirlpool. It starts pulling us in. It becomes a klesha, as given in Patanjali Yoga Sutra. It becomes a vritti is a natural flow. Klesha is somewhere where there is a block. Now it becomes a block. It becomes like a whirlpool in a river, and it starts pulling you down. You are in it like one broken record. So Purusha is there. The thought waves are there. Just the I. We need to be watchful that the I does not come up. That is the awareness.
This, in continuation, this is the beautiful example that Swami quotes is when this I is like delusion, it's like the shadow. When the shadow doesn't fall, it is when the object is straight under the sun. So when the Shraddha is completely in Sat, I cannot rise. For a Jivan Mukta, they are in self. Always. So whenever, even for normal beings like us, whenever the Shraddha is completely there in him, I does not rise. And very beautifully he says, most of the times I doesn't rise. The moment to catch that shadow, to know that the shadow is there, is itself is a great anugrah. Okay, it is by the grace of Bhagavan that one is able to even see that shadow. The moment that is there, all that we need to do is go and stand, put the Shraddha back to the self. That's what all these things does. Put the Shraddha back to the self. Shadow doesn't come up.
Krishna.
Yes.
So just surrender.
So that's
That's
all
all
we
we
can
need to do.
Nothing
When the
else.
I comes up, know that the I is a delusion and stand in the shade of the tree of Satchitananda. Bow down to the feet. Bow down to the mother. Bow down to the father. Sometimes mother, when we are still in the mind, mother, knowing that it is that all this vritti, the I is a delusion. All these thoughts belong to the divine Devi. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Matrurupena Samstita. Surrender to the divine mother. The moment you surrender to the divine mother, then she will take you to the father. She points you to the father and tells, now look at the father. But to divinize the thoughts, not the thought itself is not divine, but to know that the thoughts are on the substratum of the divine existence. So to see that substratum. Ramana Maharishi will say, who is the thinker? Turn around and see that who is the thinker and be in touch and surrender. That's all. Okay, we went somewhere.
Yadevi Sarva Bhuteshu, that's a beautiful thing. Buddhi Rupena Samsthita. Yadevi Sarva Bhuteshu Shraddha Rupena Samsthita. Everything is her only. It is Divine Mother, indeed Divine Mother. That when you were talking about that Anchala, the very first verse of Saundarya Raghavi talks about this. It says, Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati Shaktah Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakhalu Kushala Spanditumatpi. So, if Shakti, if you are not there, that Achala, there will be no spandana in that Achalatva. It is you who brings that spandana. It is Shakti Odungida Ongom Arunachala. Arunachala Kshetra is that Achala Shakti. The Shakti is completely subsided. The Arunachala, that's why they say, right? What do you say? The glory of Arunachala Kshetra is where this Shakti completely subsides in that Achala consciousness. In Shakti, maybe, it's Vishnu, Divine Mother, Krishna, everything, it's all the same Tattva. So that completely subsides in Shiva, that auspicious Sat. It's a beautiful, somewhere we went, but it's good to contemplate on all this.
There is spontaneity in the Devi's Chanchala. It is very spontaneous, the breathing. There's no thought that I should do this or this should be done or anything. It is very spontaneous. It is a happening. The flow is in the happening. The flow is not in the doing. When I feel I'm the doer, I'm enjoying, any of these come up, that's not in the flow. The happening, it's all happening. It is in that there is beauty. Chalo, we'll move on. So now they have he has taken the Hehaya has taken away Kamadhenu. Kartavirya was nearing the city of Mahishmati when he saw Rama pursuing him. He had not seen Rama before. Rama was a glowing figure dressed in a deer skin like a Brahmin. But there the resemblance ended. The Brahmin had a bow and arrows, and on his shoulder was placed an immense axe. He was glowing like the sun at the time of deluge. Kartavirya realized that this man had come to fight with him, and he dispatched an army consisting of 17 Akshauhinis. Now we have read about these Akshauhinis even in the Mahabharata. The Pandavas had 7 Akshauhinis, the Kauravas had 11 Akshauhinis. There is a number, so many archers, so many foot soldiers, so many soldiers on horses, so many soldiers on the elephants. So all that put together is one Akshauhini, a combination of foot soldiers, horse, chariots, and elephants. And it's a huge number. Just one Akshauhini goes into lakhs. So, and he sent 17 Akshauhinis to fight with Rama. Single-handed, Rama destroyed the entire army. Seeing his army destroyed like that, Arjuna entered the field of battle. He had 500 bows in his 500 hands, and the other 500 hands were busy sending arrows at Rama. But Rama broke all the bows. And when Arjuna tried to fight by hurling stones and trees at Rama, his arms were cut away by Rama. A moment later, Rama cut off the head of Kartavirya. Arjuna's 10,000 sons were stunned by the death of their father and ran away from the spot in terror. Anything coming to you, Bala? Should I continue?
Yeah, please.
Rama then took Kamadhenu and her calf with him and went back to ashrama. Jamadagni listened to the narration of the fight and about the death of Kartavirya. He was silent for a moment and then said, Rama, my son, killing a king is a sin and you have incurred it. Your anger is your weakness. You should learn to be patient. We Brahmins were respected by others because of this quality in us. The glow of a Brahmin is because of his patience. And it is this quality which makes us dear to the Lord. Kartavirya was an anointed king and he had been killed by you. The sin is better than the killing of a Brahmin. You can be cleansed of this sin only by visiting the sacred rivers. Spend a year in all the tirthas and then come back to me. So be it, said the strangely chastened Rama, and he went on a pilgrimage to the holy waters. It was probably this time that whole east coast of west coast. West coast is, it's called the Parashurama Kshetra.
Entire Kerala and some parts of Karnataka.
Karnataka also. If you see all that Mangalore, Gokarna, they have very similar culture. Their temples are also very similar. They also play the chende and, very, very similar kind of culture they have. It is said that that whole land was recovered by Parashurama when he went to Gokarna. He prays to Lord Shiva and he says, I want to do this penance. Where do I do? And Lord Shiva gives him that piece of land. And he does the meditation, and that the ocean had receded to expose that part of the land and make it available. And so that is called the Parashurama Kshetra when he went on to do his tapas. So you have the Murudeshwara temple and, Gokarna and all those places. So,
Ma'am, even the soil is a bit similar. They have a sort of red earth.
yeah.
There is one Mukambika temple, which is
Yes.
a lot of reverence for Keralites, Malayalis.
Yeah.
Shankaracharya.
Yes.
Even Annapurneshwari, I think. Right?
Kollur Mukambika is
Kollur Mukambika.
Yeah. Especially during Vidyaramba,
Yeah.
Vijayadashmi, we have that Vidyaramba Malayalis, so we especially auspicious there in Mugambika.
Yeah,
Kollur Mugambika.
It's said to that Adi Shankara gets the divine vision of the Divine Mother there.
And there is that Kodujadri Hills. It is accessible by jeep and all, but that is also a very divine place.
Yeah.
Kodachadri.
That whole place, it's very different. Like you say, the soil is different. It's all that because of the ocean which has receded that and exposed that space. And I think there is a kind of, when in the Parashurama Kshetra, there is a lot more strictness, orthodoxy.
I
Yeah,
felt
it is there in
that,
Kerala full. There is a lot of, in temples,
yeah,
there's a lot.
Yeah.
this not sure about Kerala. Kerala also, yes, but this Karnataka part of that kshetra. No, recently we have been to Udupi and that Madhwa's kshetra also. There was part. So there was that that background of quietude
Yes.
everywhere.
Yes.
That Kollur Mukambike, it was very
And the
beautiful.
orthodoxy probably because more tantra is there, which needs a lot of cleansing and this and that, in a way, a lot of purity, the body, mind, and everything. So, yeah, it's very quiet, it's very peaceful, and it's very powerful also. That very calm, ghanam, prajnana ghanam kind of feeling there.
That's the beauty of all kshetras, no? Actually, Tirtha kshetras. In the hustle bustle of Kashi, in the hustle bustle of Pandharpur, we can feel that ghana.
As long as we are caught with our sensorial, oh, this guy is pushing me, oh, this is doing this, why is he doing this, why are they doing that? We are caught with the sensorial, we will lose sight of the divine there. It is a great way for us to, all of that fade, blur it away, and have that ekagrita. What have I come here for? To see the deity. In Tirupati, that is how it has to be. But here, naturally, the senses recede, I feel, when you go to these temples. All the senses are heightened. When I see these temples, so many sesame oil lamps they light for this thing, and overall the way it is, the senses are heightened. So you don't get distracted by anything else, and there is also a certain quiet, so you can perceive the divine very easily. You feel it right
And
from the
all
moment you
are,
walk into the temples.
yeah, the rishis and all, everything is so, I think they have made it so conducive, we must say, for the way our instrument is to bring and, it's a beautiful science that they have brought in.
Yeah, they've
So,
understood human psychology and brought up a used science in a way that can elevate us.
yes, yeah.
Science was not something to make life easy for us
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the material world. Today's science is like that. They discover something, then they see how to use it. I think our rishis also said how to use it, but how to use it to elevate the mind, body, soul.
Yeah.
But what we are getting more and more accustomed to easy and comfort and all of this, and it is, in a way, it becomes, we are more attached, the more easy things are made for us, the more we are shackled.
The attention goes more to the body mind. Shraddha becomes outward. But for the rishis, it was always in the center.
I may see the way the phone has so many reels, attention span is 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. So as we go forward, we'll have to see how many can sit through a 1.5 hour class. Maybe they will. We'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see though.
We may be talking to an AI robot also, who knows? We don't know. Anyway, that is all his headache. Ishwara's headache, he will take care.
Nothing is happening without his will. Everything without his will, in the sense, everything is happening as it is supposed to happen. That is the change. That is the nature of the world. And then when it gets too much, he knows. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanirбhavati bharata, he will come. So 1 year passed. Shall we move on? 1 year passed and Rama came back from his pilgrimage. He was welcomed with great affection by his father and mother. Once Renuka, the wife of Jamadagni, went to the banks of the river to bring water, as was her daily custom. There she saw the Gandharva by name Chitrasena, and he was playing in the water with his Apsara consorts. She was looking on and told herself what a handsome man he is. And she stayed on the river banks longer than usual. When she went back to the ashram, it was past the time for Homa. She entered with great hesitation, afraid that her husband would be angry with her for her delay. She placed the pot of water at his feet and stood with folded palms. The Rishi saw with his mind's eye the cause of her delay. He was incensed at her sin, though it was committed mentally for a few moments. The thought that a man other than her lord was handsome was a sin. He called out to his sons and said, "This woman has sinned. Kill her at once." The sons were hesitant. They could not make up their minds to kill their mother at their father's angry command. Jamadagni then called his youngest son Rama and said, "Rama, kill your mother and your brothers. It is my command." Rama did not hesitate even for a moment. He killed them all and his father was pleased with him. He said, "My son, I am so pleased with the promptness with which you obeyed me. Ask any boon of me, I will grant it to you." Rama fell at his feet and said, "Father, all I want is that they should all come back to life. Moreover, when they wake up, they should not remember what has happened." His father's anger against his wife and children had evaporated, and he was only too happy to grant the boon to his son. They got up as though after a deep sleep, and they did not know what had happened. Kartavirya's son, in the meantime, were nursing their anger against Rama for the killing of their father. Oh.
This is the next one.
Hmm.
One thing that's coming up here, recently I heard, sin. What is a sin? Very nicely Swami put up. Anything that covers the truth. So basically nothing outside, it's the thought. So the purer a jiva is, even a slight disturbance which is coming in the way of being in truth becomes a sin for that jiva. That's what, because Renuka, such a chastity, because when we, many times, I remember long back when I was a child, my mother had told the story. It was also told that she can make a pot and she did not get that day, something like that. I don't know if that is in Bhagavatam or it is in something else. This is what I've heard when I was a child. So she told me, and I was wondering, how can somebody just for this, But now, if we look at it, it is all, we cannot bring such things to our level. At that, Chitta Shuddhi, when that is so Shuddha, even that has to be, what do they call it? Shiksha. That has to be,
It is the Yuga also we should see. There is something called Yuga Dharma also. Yuga Dharma. Now this is during the transition from Satya Yuga into like Vamana Avatara and Parashurama Avatara is that between in that Sandhi Kala. Parashurama is more into the Treta Yuga, but somewhere right in the beginning of the Treta Yuga in a way. So moved from Satya Yuga to Treta Yuga. So the level of chastity or the thing purity is very high, where the mind is not easily probably the chanchalatva of the mind is lesser.
Yeah.
In that during that period. So there is a
More of
very
Shuddha.
nice
More of Shuddha Chitta. Yeah.
more Shuddha Chitta and very little. So even a little failing.
Yeah.
That is why you would see even Bali, that little eye has come up, that can, because that is a time of Shuddha Chitta largely. In that, even something small comes, then that becomes the sin. It becomes like if everybody is very this thing, Sattvic, then little only makes it, so it is also come to do with the Yuga Dharma. And
even Ahalya,
uh,
you take, it's the same
yeah,
thing, right? It's
yeah.
like,
So this chastity, this thought, so basically papa or punya, anytime it is when that I comes up, there is a vritti. But it becomes a sin when somehow there is a like or a dislike or a pleasure or a pain. I like this, I dislike this, I find this pleasurable, I find this, that little relation that happens, that is the I, and when that I comes up, then it is papa or punya, both. And both papa and punya, okay, this will be called as papa because in a way, even in punya karma, when the I comes, it becomes a baggage only. So punya papa,
that's why
it
in
is not.
Vedanta, Swami always says there is no papa punya. When we are talking about this I, it is only papa.
Yeah.
Just like how they say there is no sukha in the world based on this ahankara. Everything is only dukkha. So like that, everything is papa because everything is covering. It is an avarana
Yes.
from the truth. It avarana, it covers everything. So that's nothing like papa punya. Everything is a baggage. Everything that
Any
is based
action
on
that takes me away from
that's
anything that takes me away or veils the truth for me. For that moment, I am away from the truth. That is papa or papa. Whether even if it is a good thing that you have done, but it has taken me away from the truth. The truth has been veiled for that moment only, maybe for and that moment is probably what is Yuga Dharma. For how long? And now in all of this, you get a moment of silence. Then it is in Kali Yuga. It is told if you get a moment of silence in even one day, one time in a month, you are getting you are doing one Namasmarana and you are remembering. Then it will all be Yamadutas won't come. It will be Vishnu Dutas who will come at the time of your this thing. That is how it is told. It is so because the mind has become more chanchala as we move towards because the dharma is falling as we go. It is like the universe creation, something it has been created and now it has become a very big company. In the beginning, everybody was following the values, very beautiful, with the foundational principles. Everybody is running the company according to that. But as the company grows, too many people, more chaotic. So somehow, little adjustment every now and then. Rishis come. When it becomes bigger, avatara happens to set things right and to set dharma so it is not yet over and progeny can continue. Otherwise, everybody will just kill each other and in that chanchalatva of the mind. Okay.
And also, what's the time? No, 32.
Exactly.
Just one thing that came up in continuation with this. Maybe we can tell that and stop. So this whole thing of this yuga, everything can again be completely put as an inward journey. So when this, totally when the mind is outward, it is completely chanchalatva. So even a moment of that silence, it helps. It gives a to mother. So this yuga, where it is so closer to the inner being that the chanchalatva is very less, and even a small uh, disturbance creates a huge impact outside. That is why they say jnanis are very sensitive. Because it's even a very small thing. Because one anecdote we can tell about Ramana Bhagavan and leave. So, is it very noisy? No? Okay. So, when Ramana Bhagavan, it is a practice that he used to sit and eat, with all devotees in the Ramana Ashrama. Okay. But he will ensure that he is not served anything special or different from what is being served to others. So sometime one devotee had brought some sweet something, okay, and they all know the nature of Bhagavan, but they wanted to, and I think because of his health or something, yeah, not sweet, because of health or something, usually only buttermilk was served, but somebody had advised that he has to take curd. He's losing lot of. So nobody can tell Bhagavan, nobody had that courage, and Bhagavan, that's what, this is the sensitivity of that jnani. Even a small little for them. So nobody took a plan. They told one woman devotee to go and serve. They said, just keep that, in that buttermilk only, one thing of scoop of curd, and to Bhagavan, you just pour that and come back. He will not know. So these all were out of love, all that thing. But then, as if Bhagavan won't know. So Bhagavan, immediately it was served. No, Bhagavan, it is said that devotee, she shares it, in that Ramana Periya Puranam, she writes, the way he looked was like fire, it seems, for her. She couldn't even see, she felt like the whole body was burning for her. And he says, நீ என்ன போட்டிருக்க தெரியுமா? விஷம். He told, you have served poison. This kind of, so that, so this is a sensitivity of basically, because even a small little thing can cause a huge impact. So she did not come and see Bhagwan for a few days, it seems. She couldn't gather. Then Bhagwan had asked, what did I tell her? That she became so, but the impact was so high because of that small little thing. So, it is, so they are in Treta Yuga maybe, or maybe one with Lord, we don't even know. So, that's the thing. It is this whole thing is also an inner involution. Bhagavan Swami says, involution, don't call, it's not, there is no evolution it's an involution, he says. So, through the iTube, these are the verses of Swami. So, the more and more the chitta shuddhi happens, even a small little thing, it is a sin. Sin means it is covering that truth, right?
In fact, Ramana Maharshi, just quick one. Somebody gives him a very nice a walking stick, it seems. When he had started walking, he used to do Girivaram and all. And it was a very nice gold studded and very nice looking walking stick. He refuses to take it. He said, if I take this, it might be the cause for somebody's jealousy, and I don't want to be the cause for that. And he refuses it. So, absolute sensitivity, that nothing should come in the way. So that is why when somebody is at such a high level, little bit also, if they feel, we have to be very alert. Now the chanchalatva is reduced, the little bit also can become a problem. So it will fall. So you have to, the higher you rise, the more the responsibility to keep it alert in a way. So even for us, right? Between a child and a mother, just because a child is fighting and talking and saying all these things doesn't mean the mother or parents should talk like that, right? There is a responsibility. Supposed to be the older one, like that. With the one who is holding the higher position has in the mind is supposed to have a better mind, conscious. There is a conscious.
Tena, the greater the power, higher the responsibility.
Higher the responsibility, exactly. Asato ma sadgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya, sarve bhavantu sukhinaha, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyanto, ma kaschid dukkhabad bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
Hari Om.